this video, we will talk about Kaizer Chiefs' plan B because plan A hasn't worked in trying to sign an attacking midfielder, so they're going for another attacking midfielder. And we're also going to talk about Daniel Cardoso's comments on Given Msimango. Hello and welcome to Coast Nation Fan TV. I am Pilo, I am your host. This is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs. Amakosi Football Club. It's a known thing, Uguti, when it comes to Kaizer Chiefs wanting a player and then Pirates entering that race to sign that very player. What ends up happening is the Chiefs back off. Some people will say because Chiefs cannot compete financially with Pirates. Some people will say because Chiefs is stingy. Some people will say because teams usually want more money from Chiefs, which is weird because Pirates is also a big team, so they would also want a lot of money from Pirates. But I'm going to leave that debate for another day because that's not what we are talking about today. The player that was the plan A, apparently, according to reports, was Ukarim Kimvuidi. But then Pirates also wanted to sign the player and is playing for Marispec United. So Chiefs were like, deuces, not yet Uhuru, we're not going to sign Kimvuidi. Now they are going after Rowan Human. Rowan Human is also playing for Marispec United. He came to the PSL in the 2019 season playing for Ivets, given a debut yake by Gavin Hunt. Who we also hear Uguti Supersport United are keeping an eye on Rowan Human, which makes sense for Rowan Human because he has played under Hunt, so he might want to play under Hunt again. Anyways, so he left Ivets and went to play in Israel for Maccabi Tel Aviv and then eventually ended up coming back to SA. Where does he play? He plays a central midfielder / attacking midfielder. Why am I smiling? Because, as you know, Chiefs has a lot of players who are central midfielders / attacking midfielders. And I've been saying this thing for a long time, Guti. Now I kind of want Chiefs to sign players who are specialists. I like players who are versatile because you can utilize them in multiple positions. But I also want players who are specialists. Defensive midfielder, out and out attacking midfielder, a striker, specific. This is a position. You are not being played in makeshift such that people will say, oh, so and so is performing because they are being played out of position. Funakbe nabadlali who own a position, well, not own, but it's their position, their natural position, right? So this thing of central midfield / I don't like it. I know it's modern football and players playing multiple positions because there are multiple formations. So I don't want to sound like I'm being clueless. So, on a side of Rowan Human being 22 and having some experience in the PSL, it looks good. And for some people will say, oh yeah, Mpilo, he's actually a good player to come to Chiefs. We saw him when we were playing against Marispec United. But as we know, performances against Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns can be deceiving because the player can perform really well against those big teams, but when it comes to the other teams, they don't do so well. If you disagree with me, here's the proof. He has played 27 games this season for Marispec United, but he only has 3 assists, right? And I know some people will say, oh, but if you look at stats alone, you will be deceived. But for an attacking midfielder / central midfielder, you are expecting those numbers to be high because you are expecting them to be creative. We always sit here and talk about, oh, we don't create enough chances, but we do, we just miss them. But then again, we want people who are going to create chances. So to know that there are people who are creating enough chances, let's look at their stats and see, Guti, they have gotten 3 assists or 13 assists in a season. I know I'm overstretching it, but I'm just saying, Guti, that's like evidence. The chances, the big chances that they're creating, they end up being converted. I know good sometimes it's also up to the striker whether they convert those assists or not, those chances or not. But I'm just saying that's what we generally look at from an attacking midfielder. And if it's not there, then it's kind of a worrisome factor. Secondly, the other thing I have a problem with, Uguti, if you look at players like Umahlatsi, if you look at Umatlo, they came from a team that was playing playoffs last season, right? And some of us, I was excited about Mahlatsi, and I was skeptical on Matlo, but then I was like, maybe they saw something, and he also possesses some killer pass in him, his physicality, stuff like that. But it came to Chiefs, he never showed. Now, we're looking at Chiefs, a team that is trying to win a league, and you are telling me, Guti, we are going to take players from a team that's fighting relegation and try to get those players to win a league. You get where I'm going with this. Uguti, sometimes the pressure associated with just surviving being in the league is different. Not sometimes. The pressure, this is a fact, the pressure associated with surviving relegation and the pressure of winning the league are two different pressures, right? Because with relegation battle, you are playing against Isekukuni, you are trying to get a draw. If you are trying to win a league, you are trying to win every single game. So those are two different things. The mentality, things that need to be worked on kubadlali when they come to a team. So Chiefs are expecting Uzwane to hit the ground running beginning of the season. So if you still have players that you still need to work on their mentality, players who still need to be developed. I mean, Kaizer Chiefs fans don't even have the patience to allow players from development to develop. How much more umdlalo is already playing in the PSL? Because pressure that associated with playing Chiefs for Chiefs also is just huge because of fan base. So I just look at all these players and I say, he might look like a good player, but then he might just suffer with Chiefs. And that's my worry. I'm not saying Chiefs shouldn't sign him. I'm just saying I worry a lot about these kind of players because they come to Chiefs and then they are just forgotten. Speaking of forgotten, well, not really forgotten, more like hated. Please like the video. Cardoso, Daniel Cardoso, the media feeds off this thing, Yoguti. They know he has something to say about the Chiefs. So they keep on asking him questions about the Chiefs, right? Because why not? So they asked him about Given Msimango. What advice would you give to Given Msimango? And he said this, I wrote this, don't go and just sit like everyone else. I'm not laughing because I am like mocking Daniel or something. No, I'm thinking Cardoso really has a lot of things that he saw at Chiefs that he didn't like. Some of which is an example, Yoguti. There are players that he thinks are just there at Chiefs and are sitting and doing nothing. And that was something that we did talk about earlier on, Uguti. Each Chiefs has players who are just sitting there, they are not playing, but they are just staying there. And that is why even when you look at our subs, I know Guti there is also rustiness, but when they are brought on to come and make a change in the team, they don't deliver. Why? Because you can see Guti, these players, it doesn't seem like they're fighting enough to get back to the starting 11. Now people will say, hey Mpilo, you are defending Zwane. No. This, what's the word? This happened even before Zwane. Uguti, players were just there at Chiefs, were sitting on the bench until their contract ended. You didn't see them fighting hard to try and get back to the starting 11. So then what Cardoso is saying, Guti, don't go there and just sit like the rest of the players. It's because he knows, he has observed this. I know we have strong feelings against Cardoso, most of us right now, but you have to look at it and think about it, Guti. Could there be truth in what he's saying? Could it be true, Ugut Ngempela, there are Kaizer Chiefs players or players who get signed by Chiefs and they just sit on the bench the entire season and they still don't look for a move away from Chiefs to play football because they're Chiefs and it's like for them the highest point in their life and they don't want to leave because they know Uguti, that's the highest they can get and it doesn't matter whether they're playing or not. I'm just saying, he did also mention Uguti, he wishes him all the best, but it's just something that is interesting that is had to say, which makes me think maybe one of these days I should find Daniel Cardoso and say, my brother, let's talk. Let's sit here and chat. What do you think about Cardoso's comments? What do you think about Human coming to Chiefs? Let me know down on the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, remember, equals Alpelo Moya.